So with a lot of new people getting into PvP, this next build I find is very important to exist. This is the lowest effort build for the highest amount of efficiency you can get. And you might think, well, what's the purpose of that? Well, there is a purpose because say you maybe you have a 40-hour work week, and then you get home and you don't really want to think. You just want to chill and just mash buttons. Or maybe you want to play with your friends in Guild Wars. And they PvP, but you're not very good at PvP, and you don't want to feel like you're dragging them down. But you also want to play with your friends because, that's fun. But, this is a very good build because you can still play with them and not feel like you're dragging them down because it is so easy to play. You can barely mess up on this. This is the core symbol guardian. It's basically two buttons. You press your symbol and then you press your other symbol, and that's it. That's how you play the build. Now there's a little bit of theory crap that goes into this. So I take Zeal, Valor, and Honor because that allows me to use the most symbol that I can, and you get the most out of those symbols because of this. So I take Symbolic Avenger and Word of Persistence. This increases the value of all my symbols. You also take things like Empowering Might and Altruistic Healing, which have really good synergy because whenever I crit, I give might to nearby allies, and whenever I give a boon to an ally, I heal. So yeah, you're gaining boons all the time from hitting people, from standing in your symbols, and also whenever I hit people, I proc Zealous Scepter, which is whenever you proc your Virtue of Justice, you gain might. So yeah, just you're getting tons of boons passively just from hitting stuff and from being near your allies and giving out boons, and that's giving you a ton of sustain for free, so you don't really have to kite too much on this build. So it's really easy. You just kind of stand in the middle of a node. And also you have Fury, which gives you Vuln. You also have this trait, which gives you Vuln on your symbols. You're going to get a decent amount of Fury from standing in your sword symbol. And in Valor, you have a little bit of Condi Cleanse here with Lesser Smite condition on your heal. You're mostly going to have condition cleanse from Contemplation of Purity and just passive Condi Cleanse from Rune of Resistance, which is just going to be good because you don't really have to think about it. And also, you're going to have, whenever you use a heal, you're going to gain another symbol. And that's kind of nice because after you use your heal, which you'll be standing in the middle of the node most of the time, you will get some more protection. And, all the other stuff that comes with, boons and damage. So it's just, a really good synergy with this build. I take double energy, double cleansing because you need the Condi Cleanse. Energy is kind of nice because your dodge rolls will heal with Selfless Daring. And obviously you're a Guardian, so you need the hard mitigation. And that's pretty much it. Another thing is, whenever you use Rune of Resistance, you gain resistance on your elite. I'm using Signet of Courage. So Signet of Courage is really nice because this build is very low in mobility, so you can't actually kite people. So what you often do is you just try to tank it. And Signet of Courage is the best at doing that. And you can also support your allies too. But usually the passive is what you really want from this, because it's just more passive healing, more passive sustain. So it's just nice. And yeah, that's pretty much the traits and the runes. So the weapons, obviously, you take Sword, Focus, and Scepter, Shield. So yeah, obviously you want to be using the 2 skills because those give out your symbols. Those are your big value. You want to put those on top of the node, on top of the enemy. And then from there you can just spam anything else that you want. The 1 skill is pretty good. You might want to save Shield of Wrath though, because if you use that on top of one of your symbols, that is a combo finisher blast, which will give you Condi Cleanse. And also Shield of Absorption is a good CC to peel enemies off of you. You can also use Shield of Absorption and Shield of Wrath to cover your Signet of Courage, because this is a very long cast time, 2.5 seconds, but it's a full heal. So you do want to kind of ensure that that gets off. And I'm also running Stand Your Ground because stability is nice. It gives you a little bit of boons to your allies, which procs altruistic healing. And it's just, yeah, it's really good. And then Contemplation, obviously, you want to have Condi Cleanse. This is just a really good skill. And Save Yourselves is really good too, because it also gives you a ton of boons, which is altruistic healing. And it also kind of supports your allies in a way, because it gets all the Condis off them, and then it puts them onto you. But that can be kind of dangerous, because you can die. So you want to be careful. You do get resistance for 1 second, but you might want to have to Contemplation of Purity after you save yourself. So that's kind of a nice combo. If like you're in a big team fight and your whole team has Condis, you can remove every Condi off of them by sucking them onto you and then removing them all. And yeah, that's the utilities. The playstyle is kind of simplistic. Yeah, you have your virtues, so you never want to use F1 because you want to be constantly proccing Zealous Scepter. And you almost never want to use your F2 because you want to keep getting the passive healing from it. The only reason you'd want to use it is if you want to heal an ally for like 3,000. And there's also like 2 Condi Cleanse for yourself if you really need it. Virtue of Courage is only a single Aegis to your allies. So you really only want to use that to block something really key, or like to cover for your Signet of Courage. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the build. Like, very simple. And you want to just go to mid, and like say you're playing with other classes that give out tons of boons, right? Altruistic healing heals you whenever I grant a boon to an ally, right? So yeah, what you want to do is just go to mid, put symbols down, give boons to your allies, and yeah, it's just really good at just being simple. So as this is the easiest build to play in the game, you're just going to go into mid and just spam symbols and help your team by giving them boons. You're going to be gaining a lot of boons off of your allies as well, so you'll be gaining a lot of sustain from that. And yeah, just pretty much just spam symbols. So like right now, we're fighting off node. That's a little bit too, it's a little bit too complicated for this build, right? You want to be fighting on nodes with this build. So what I do is I precast my full heal there for my team, make sure that they can survive till we get to the node. Because if we can get to the node, then we win. Because as you can see here, symbol spam is very strong when you can bait people to stand in them. So I put my symbols down, my teammate dies, but we're a little bit outnumbered. There's a double lich, so I want to just back off a little bit and just kind of wait for the lich to go down. Then I'm going to cast my symbol, cast my next symbol, and then just stand in the symbols. And I'm just, sitting pretty nice here at full health. My teammates are dying around me, but, that's not really my fault there. So, I did everything I could. But, you can see this Necro, he wants to kill me, but the double symbol is really too much for them to handle. So I do have to kite though, because I'm outnumbered. You can't just stand on the node the whole time. You need to utilize, kite spots a little bit. This is a platinum ranked match. I think probably a lot of gold players in it, but if you're in silver or bronze, you probably wouldn't ever need to leave the node. But when you get a little bit higher in rating, yeah, you're gonna need to use your movement keys. So that's, I'm just showing off how to use movement keys a little bit here while in an outnumbered situation. It does allow us to get sides for me to be outnumbered like this, and I'm actually holding both their necros, which is pretty good because, and right here I wait till I get all of their condis because I know I'm about to use my Contemplation of Purity. So I just wait a little bit until they put more on me. You want to kind of you don't want to use Contemplation of Purity early. It's like, oh, I need cleanse now. And then when you need the cleanse, you kind of wait a little bit more so that you get the maximum value from it. And here I have 8 Torment on me or something like that. So I just cast my Elite, and that gives me a full heal. So after being like 2v1 for a really long time, I'm doing fine. I don't have the passive anymore, but you know, I'm full HP, and I'm still pretty good. So we get the double symbol value here. Their Necro is really low and immobilized from my Scepter in all of our symbols. So they're going to die. The res comes off anyways. I'm not sure if that was an Elixir R. But now we're in a 3v2 here, and it's actually going to be a 3v3. And I'm getting focused by a Rifle Warrior, so I use line of sight a little bit. But I just put my double symbol down, stand in them, always stand in your symbols, and just use my auto attack in Scepter. It does a pretty decent amount of damage. And just, you know, put symbols on top of myself. I take a lot of damage here from the Necros, but I kite off a bit. We're actually in a 2v3 now, I think, and I'm unable to really get back into the fight, so I'm just kiting off the node here, getting chased by a warrior. I want to use my symbols very intelligently here because I'm kind of low on cooldowns, so I just use this kite spot. And you look at the map, we do have sides, which is pretty nice, and I just need to stall for time because we were technically outnumbered when I was in this situation. So now that I'm fine, I've resustained and I've got my Elite up again, I can go back into mid, but it looks like we're dying at mid, so perhaps I'll go home and take the 1v1. Now this build doesn't really have a lot of, you know, movement speed on it, so you often don't want to be rotating, because rotating, first of all, is a lot of effort, and also it just, for me to take swiftness on this build would require me to, you know, lose a little bit more of my potential for AFKing on the node, which is, you know, what you want to do when you're playing this build. So, you know, I have to do a little bit of rotation there, you know, after 5 minutes of the match. You know, I went to mid, I was there for like 5 minutes. That was pretty nice because I didn't really have to think about my rotations at all. So now I'm at home and I'm in a 2v2. This is a pretty free win. We are now 3v2, but don't really concern yourself with numbers. Just spam symbols. The only number that you need to know is really the 2, right? Just press 2. And then, yeah. So I put my, you know, my symbols down on the node. It does a lot of pressure to the hollow, forces them to, you know, leave, and I'm going to be rotating out now. You know, you don't want to stay until you get the kill all the time because you often don't have a lot of kill potential on this build. You want to kind of take even fights on the node. So I'm going to push into mid, and that hollow actually res themselves with Elixir R, so our team is going to lose a lot of presence that we should have gotten from that kill. So that's going to put us far behind quite a bit. But now I'm going to take this 2v2 at mid, and just going to put symbols on the node. They want to attack my teammate because obviously I am an immovable object. So I'm going to try to support my teammate there by using my save yourselves and then taking all of their condies onto me, and then using Contemplation of Purity to cleanse all of those condies off of them. And I channel a really nice Elite Ear to prevent my teammate from dying. But see, the thing is, they're not really kiting off the node. So my teammate right there made a huge mistake of just standing on the enemy team's node because we don't own it, so there's no reason to stand on it, pressure them. I do get it down there, and I get a really nice stomp as well because I time the Aegis from my F3 very well. So we get that, and we get a kill in a 2v3, which is pretty nice. Our Necro is going for Beast or something. I don't know. They're like 2v1ing at home for no reason. The Necro should have just left. Obviously, you know, this is probably not a winnable game if my Necro's like rotating worse than me, you know. I'm not rotating very well. But I'm going to go back into mid, and I'm going to get the decap for free. Our warrior, or actually there's a Necro there, but our warrior got the decap far, which is really good. And I just immobilized them in double symbol here. It's just eating away their shroud very quickly. And now they're pretty much out of Shroud. I'm just gonna not use my CC here because I want them to take damage. So yeah, they're really low now, and I'm just gonna dodge the weakness there from the Shroud proc, and just, you know, put out as many symbols as possible. Remember, Shelter gives a symbol as well because of your honor trait line. And yeah, just get an easy kill here. Use my F3 to block the fear, and I get mid. So yeah, anyone who tries to fight me by standing on node pretty much has a huge disadvantage. And yeah, I just win that easily. We're kind of like unable to rotate out of mid or out of home, so I'm often going to be outnumbered this match, right? So that's kind of an issue, but I do end up getting some nice 1v1s against Core Necros. This is probably one of the easier builds to play too. Not as easy as my build though, so I'm going to have an advantage in this 1v1 because all I have to do is just put symbols on the node and press 1. He's got to use a little bit more positioning. He has to avoid standing in my symbols, so yeah, there's quite an advantage for me in this matchup. And I'm probably going to win because, as you can see here, I'm at full HP and they're running out of Shroud and health. So I'm kind of kiting here a little bit. I do get decapped, it looks like, because of the fears, but that's fine. I don't need to keep running into that wall. I'll take the, I'll get decapped because I'll just win it back again by just spamming symbols on the node. So yeah, I'm just autoing here. I'm about to get 2v1'd, so I put down both symbols and I just try to move around in them while they take damage. I do realize that I'm a bit low on cooldowns, so I kite for a little bit. I want to go back in and pressure this 2v1 though, because I think I can win it. Put up my stability, stand in both my symbols, and I pressure the hollow. There's my third symbol there, and I'm just auto attacking the Lich. So yeah, we're gonna probably get the kill on this Necro here, maybe. I give out a lot of boons to my team and healing to my team just passively. But yeah, the match ends. So if you can see here, I got 42% damage, 37% healing, top kills, and top offense. So I mean, yeah, that was pretty good, me just standing still most of that game and still doing a lot of presence for my team. So yeah, if you like this build, like the video. If you want more content like this, subscribe, and of course leave a comment down below